Another day, another Straw Hat Pirate to review. As you may know, I have been very interested in Mega House's Variable Action Heroes line of figures, as they are the only ones putting out one-piece action figures fairly consistently, and on top of that, all the figures I've gotten by them so far have impressed me. So, without further ado, today we have the brave warrior Usopp with us here to review. Usopp comes in packaging that's in line with the rest of the Straw Hats. However, his isn't nearly as visually striking as Robin's packaging. I was a bit worried about this figure before I had it in my hands because it looked kinda middle of the road in terms of figures. However, I can safely say that this figure is pretty great, but with a few minor issues. Straight out of the box, Usopp looks like he's missing something. So let's put that knapsack on Usopp ASAP. His default face looks kinda pissed, which is strange, because when I think Usopp, I don't think seething rage. Which brings me to his faces. This figure certainly doesn't disappoint when it comes to alternate faces. The first one is probably my favorite. Usopp has a big dumb smile on his face and one eye closed. This is more the kind of expression I'd like to see on an Usopp figure. He has an alternate hand that allows him to pull this pose while using this face, which I think looks amazing. His next face is a mixture between happy and focused. His eyes are both pointing to the figure's right side, which can work in some action poses, but I don't really think is too great. I'm not a fan of eyes that point in a very specific direction on figures in general, so this doesn't really do anything for me. Next up, we have a face that places Usopp's goggles over his eyes and a very stern look on his face. This guy is definitely used for most action poses. If the figure's hat is getting in the way, you can easily remove it by taking it off of the peg on the figure's head. The really cool thing about this is that they have an alternate headpiece that allows you to display the figure without having a large peg protruding out of the head. As for accessories, Usopp comes with his Kuro Kabuto with a short sling and pouch. This version is used mainly for non-action poses, I would assume. However, the real moneymaker is the extended sling version. This is used to recreate Usopp pulling it back, ready for attack. This looks really great while on display. However, you might notice that his head isn't really looking at where he's aiming, which looks very awkward. Usopp's hair restricts head movement, so this doesn't really look amazing, unless you remove his hair, which still looks weird, but at least he actually looks like he's aiming now. Usopp comes with a few open hands that allow him to do this pose, which looks really great and gives the figure a lot of character. I would absolutely display him like this if I didn't already have Luffy in a very similar pose. The next hand Usopp gets is a thumbs up that can be used to point at himself or just make a thumbs up. And last but not least, he has a separate pair of goggles that you can put around his neck. This looks good and it really completes the character's look. As for the figure's articulation, the only problem areas are the aforementioned head, which is being hindered by the hair, as I said before. His left and right and up movement is very hindered by the hair, but as I said earlier, can be fixed altogether by removing the hair from the back. His legs can only go up about this far due to his pants, and can limit some more dynamic poses. For whatever reason, the creases in his pants makes it look like he has camel toe.
What? Camel toe.
I saw some people online talk about how bad the QC on their figure was, and I was a bit nervous about getting this figure because of that. Thankfully, there's only a little bit of paint on Usopp, and it's in a place you'll really never see, and it's so tiny. So it looks like I lucked out, but that's something to take into consideration when purchasing this figure. So, there you go. The brave warrior of the sea has been made into what I would consider a very solid action figure. The look of the figure is spot on to the character. He comes with a lot of great accessories, and can be posed in a variety of fun poses, and fits in well with the other Straw Hat Pirates. I was worried that this figure would be the one to kill the variable action hero's boner I've had, but it's still as turgid as ever. If you're a fan of One Piece, I would absolutely recommend getting this figure for your collection. But if at all possible, check the figure out in person first to make sure there aren't any heinous paint issues.